Here today in the French office is just a normal working day for us. And of course, guess what is the one topic that we talk about an awful lot in this office, and that is language learning. And actually, this is a completely unplanned 5 minutes of our time at recording this video, because we've been talking about using apps to learn a foreign language. And we were just having a conversation over coffee, which we thought we really had to share with you. If you are currently learning a foreign language, thinking about learning a foreign language, and perhaps or not using an app. So I'm going to let my good friend here, Laura, talk, because what also prompted that conversation is she's just come out of her Spanish lesson. So she's a very good student, as well as teaching languages. She's also learning a foreign language, because you've got to practice what you preach, don't you?
Absolutely.
And Laura will tell you that she is herself using an app to learn or improve, because she's already pretty good, her Spanish. Now, before I ask her the question, let me tell you that there isn't a day that goes past that people don't say to me, actually, I have to tell you, I'm using an app. Well, the thing is, I've been using an app to learn a foreign language. What do you think? And because of our profession, I think that most people expect us to say, oh, no, you can't do that. Apps are rubbish. But we don't say that because we love them, because we use them. And I am going to ask Laura what she thinks about language apps. But my little secret as well is I've also just started learning Spanish, and I use one as well, so I can tell you about all of that later. So Laura, we were just sat here, and I said to you, so how's it going with your Spanish? And then you said, great. And by the way, I've been using my app. So the question is, does it work? Can you learn a foreign language using an app?
So yes and no. Apps are great. They're a really good way to begin with the language. It's a really good way for you to get started, for you to engage a little bit with the language and see if you enjoy it, get a bit of an idea of the basic vocabulary that you need, get a bit of an idea of the basic grammar structures that you're going to see. And apps are great to begin with. I really love it. I use a lot of different apps to start learning different languages, but you're also not going to achieve full fluency if you're only using apps. It's like I said, it's a great way to start, but it's definitely not something that is going to get you to full fluency, which is, why what we were talking about, that it's something that you need to have in combination with other parts of your language learning journey.
So it is quite interesting, because I think that people come to us on there and say, sorry, I have to tell you, I'm using an app. Like there's some sort of guilt trip about using an app.
Yeah.
We at Vici really, really strongly believe that a blended learning approach is the best. Now, I have been having regular Spanish lessons. I'm doing it at a leisurely pace. I'm clearly not the best of students. I don't always do my homework. I don't always check my notes. But for the past few weeks, I've also been using an app. And again, I'm not the most diligent of students, so I may just go on it 10, 15 minutes a week. Even that has helped me tremendously. For me, it's about consolidating my learning. So for example, for those of you who know Spanish, you'll know that they have two verbs for the verb to be. And even though I'm supposed to be a good linguist, I've found that very hard, not to understand, but actually to grasp and to remember. I kept mixing them up. I was finding it really quite challenging to follow the verb tables. Since I've been using the app, just got it. However, for me, I also realized that if all I had was the app, it just wouldn't work for me. Like, I don't know about you, but for me, I need the interaction with someone. I need to have a laugh. I need to talk about the fact that I'm going to Ibiza soon, and try to make fun of myself by ordering a glass of wine. I'm doing this as personal development, my own pace, nothing too challenging, but I also want to feel that I'm getting somewhere. And if I was on the app only every week, I would completely kind of not necessarily lose track of it, but I think my attention would just go down. Like, I need to interact. Do you feel like that as well?
Absolutely. We definitely need that interaction with people as well, because, learning a language is language is something that's human. It's something that we learn to interact with other people. So having that in your learning is hugely important. And also to build a bit on what you said, there are many different apps that you can use as well. So I actually use 5 different apps.
Teach us that.
I have 5 different apps alongside my lessons with Esther, and I don't use all of them every week, obviously. But for me, it's having that variety as well, and having lots of different things to use and lots of different things to try. And that's part of it as well, not falling into the trap of just using the first app that you find as well. So testing different things and having them.
I think it's your job as well.
It's my job as well.
Because obviously, as the language coordinator, Laura's responsibility in the office is to make sure that all the staff's trained on the app, make sure that students understand how to use it and make the most of it. Your job is also to research new apps on the market to see, what could work best for our students. So it's also part of your role.
Yeah, exactly.
I only use one, but for exactly the same reason that you've just mentioned. I've only used 2, and one of them was much better for me, I think, because of the way that it was structured. And I really couldn't agree more with what you said when you talk about communication. I think that, language is communication. Before foreign languages were made into books because they were made into school subjects, there were and still are primarily a method of communication.
Exactly.
And so for me, there's no communication to be had when I'm in front of my app, but it enhanced my learning so much. I feel that when I also have my lessons with Esther, for me it's every Thursday morning. And then Monday night, last night, I did 10-15 minutes of the apps before I went to bed, and lots of things just clicked. So not only when I use the app, I feel that I'm consolidating what I've been covering in class with Esther, but I also feel that when I see Esther live, everything makes more sense. My brain is a lot more engaged into studying Spanish, and that's only at my tiny little beginner's level of someone who's like literally doing no more than 90 minutes a week. So I don't know if you want to add anything, but for me, it's please tell us when you're using an app. We love it. We love blended learning. We are always looking for testimonials from students to, tell us how they've used an app, what was great about them. But please remember that when you learn a foreign language, it's all about the immersion factor, and it's all about finding what works for you. And apps are actually really good.
Definitely. Yeah, we'd love to know what you use as well, and what you think of them. And yeah. Exactly. Great.
Well, that was the little Natalie and Laura's impromptu tips on a Tuesday afternoon. So I hope that was useful, and speak to you soon.
Thanks,
Take care.
bye.
Bye. Adios.
Adios.